In transformation, when 2% of a population begin to think in more liberated and spiritually open ways, a new level of consciousness will awaken, bringing about a new reality for the total population. Join me, Jael McLean, competence coach, business owner, musician, health and fitness enthusiast, transformational instigator, and your host of the 2% podcast in creating a new reality of spiritual awareness, confidence, and authenticity. Hello and welcome to the 2% podcast, your source for empowerment, expansion, and elevation. I'm your host, Jael McLean, and today I'm joined by my friend, executive coach, and teen interventionist, Tamrah Barber. Tamrah, welcome.
I'm just glad to be here.
I know, I've been chomping at the bit to get you in and get you on the show.
Yes.
So I'm so glad you're here.
I'm excited to be here, and I'm a little hoarse, but I'm still excited.
Well, we'll make it work. So the topic for the podcast this season has been, what are we experiencing out in the world and how do we create an impact around it? And so I wanted you to speak into, what are you experiencing that's out in the world that...
Yeah, what I'm experiencing and seeing a lot of in the world are people going for their dreams, wanting to accomplish something, step out of corporate America, and really find their zone of genius where they really want to operate. And in doing that, I see them get distracted a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And I think that there are some tools that people can use to help them stay focused on what it is they want to accomplish and not be distracted by so many things. I think there's a lot of opportunity out here today with coming out of COVID. There's a lot of opportunity to do your own thing and branch off and do new things. And there's so many things to do that I think people just dibble and dabble in lots of different things, trying to find that one thing, that one get rich quick, I don't ever have to work for someone again thing. And when I think about the book, Think and Grow Rich, most people are focusing on the grow rich part. But I like to focus on what truly got them there, which is thought. Taking time to think about, what is my next move going to be? What's important to me? And where do I want to, what's my Z? What would I love to do that even if I did not get paid for it, I would still want to do it?
Yeah.
And sometimes people know it intuitively, and sometimes people have no idea. I often tell people in the work that I do, there are 3 places where you're going to sit in life. One place is you know exactly what your vision is and what you want to accomplish, and you know exactly what to do to get there. That's one position, one point of view. The second is I know where I want to go, but I have no idea how to get there. Where do I start? And then the third position is I have no idea what I want to do, and I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
And I think we go in and out of those different points of view throughout life. I found the place where I know exactly what I want to do. I'm doing it, and I know exactly how to get it done. And I love to give people tools to help them get to that place.
Yeah. So I can definitely relate to what you're saying. There's so much that I have been interested in, music and lifting and education and getting a good job. And I recently, just last year, left my corporate job after taking the redesign training and really looking at my life and looking at the fact that I had these dreams of being this musician, and instead I went the corporate, I carved out a phenomenal path for myself. Certainly nothing that I would regret or go back and change. I carved that path out, but then I really looked at, am I living authentically? And the fact that I didn't go after my dreams, I did what I thought I should be doing, societal expectations, family, and those types of pressures. And then I looked at it and I'm like, now's the time. If I don't do this now, I will never know. And I can always go back.
That's
If I don't
right.
make my dreams happen, I can always go back. But really, this training and the work that you do with teens, I can't imagine having gotten that training that I received last year in my early teens to really step into the confidence and, like you're saying, be in that first position that you talked about much sooner in life, knowing my talents, being secure in my talent. I'm hearing what you're saying as far as the bouncing around and bouncing back and forth and not really quite knowing what direction to go, not having the confidence to really make a decision or know here's where I'm going to go. I knew where I wanted to land. I didn't know how I wanted to get there.
Yeah, confidence, that's a whole nother
Yeah.
that's a whole nother area to dive into. But I like to go back to an acronym that I created because I was doing a workshop in Canada and I wanted to bring something unique. And so I thought about the book Think and Grow Rich. And it's something that's been sitting with me for some time. And back to what I said earlier, that taking time to think. And so the acronym, the T, T-H-I-N-K, the T is taking time to think. Most of us don't do that. We have our calendars so tightly booked that we don't take time for ourselves to just sit back and think. Every moment that we have, I used to feel like I had to be doing something every minute of the
Yeah.
day. That if I was just lying still doing nothing, I was missing out on something. I was not moving myself forward,
Yeah.
positioning for the next opportunity. And none of that was true because many of the opportunities that have come my way had nothing to do with what I had planned. And so I learned that real quick. And so taking time to think, that was the first thing that I incorporated into my daily practices. The second one is the H, hone in on what's important. I love, his name was Alfredo Pareto. He came up with the Pareto rule, the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense. And you can apply it even to goal setting and the things that you want to accomplish. Because 20% of what you do is going to create the success, not 80%. And we often fill our schedules
Yeah.
with the 80%, and then the 20% gets sprinkled out throughout there, and you end up spreading your energy out in so many different directions, as opposed to honing in on the tasks that are really important, the ones that are actually going to create the success. For me, my 80% was sitting at home behind the computer, creating platforms, creating foundations for the business. And the 20% that was the work that really would move me forward was out there talking to people, meeting people, and creating memories with people so that when the mention came up about teens, Tamrah's name
Yeah.
would be the first name that came up. And so I looked at how Extreme Teen Leaders has grown, and it hasn't grown from me sitting in the back of my office in the
Yeah.
computer. It happened from me getting out, volunteering my time, meeting people, sharing my vision with people,
Yeah.
and sharing it in a way that they got it and could communicate it and be the mouthpiece for Extreme Teen Leaders. And that was the 20%. And so hone in on what's important, what's going to move you forward. And then the I is what you just said, being in integrity, being authentic to who you are. There's a lot of things that we say yes to that are not in alignment with our vision. And sometimes not even in integrity with who we are and who we want to be in the world and what we want to
Yeah.
produce in the world. And so you really want to make sure that every decision that you make is in integrity with your vision and your dream. And you'll notice that a lot of things that you would say yes to, the N in think is no. Learn how to say no and be okay with saying no.
It's really funny how speaking into the authenticity, like I'm not a math person. And somehow in my career, I landed in very mathematical, analytical, 40,000 rows of number Excel spreadsheets.
Oh my gosh.
Formulas. And and again, looking at this last year, it was like, how did I end up nowhere near what my God-given talents and abilities are with the art, the music, language? I'm definitely the art side is stronger than my mathematical brain. So it's just funny how it's like I landed way far out in left field, much further than I thought I would land.
Yeah. And when that happens a lot, that happens when we're focused on the grow rich part of it. Like, okay, what's going to make the most money?
Exactly.
What's going to make me the most money? Let's do this.
Okay, so getting back to no.
So no, being comfortable with saying no. A lot of times we get caught up in a looking good conversation and we want people to like us. We don't want to say no because when we say no, we feel like we are rejecting the other person. When in actuality, you are rejecting someone. It's not the other person, though. It's yourself. So are you going to reject the other person and their vision and goals and what they want to accomplish? Or are you going to reject yourself? And most times we choose rejecting ourselves. And so learning how to say no, and here's a nugget. If you have a challenge with saying no, you have some work to do. You have some work to do on you because it's a worthiness conversation that comes up when you're unable to say no. Now, saying no just to say no, that's the other end of the spectrum. That's not where you want to be either. You want to be like right in the middle. Not
a no out of control.
That's right.
Out of wanting to control other people or control situations.
Yeah. And not you don't want to be a no. Yeah. You want to be a yes and. I love one of the workshops that I did around improv with a friend of mine, Julie. She is incredible, and she uses this game called Yes and it's how you can say no without actually saying no, which those of you that don't like to say no, you can use that. You can say yes and here's an example. Would you be a guest on my podcast on Saturday? Yes, and Saturday won't work for me.
I love that.
Or yes, and this year I'm trying to avoid podcasts. Come back to me next year.
Yeah.
So you're not actually saying no. You're not a no. You're a yes to the people that you care about. But you can also set your boundaries and parameters so that you're spending your time in the places that are really meaningful for you. Yeah. So no.
And you just hearing that, it felt like an open invitation. It feels so inviting, so hopeful and supportive as well.
Absolutely, because you're not a
closed, no. Yeah, exactly. Without closing the bridge there.
And with respect to setting boundaries, there might be some things that are an absolute no. Yeah. And you can just say, no, that's not in alignment with my vision and what I want to accomplish. And be okay with that. Yeah. And that's a lot different than just being a no for no's sake.
Right.
And the last one, K. Be kind to yourself. We beat ourselves up so much, and it's not necessary. It's not necessary. We make decisions, and I see this mostly in our choices. We'll make decisions, and it at the end doesn't work out the way we want it to. And so when we get there, we're like, oh my gosh, like, oh, that was such a stupid decision. I'm so dumb. Like, why did I do that? And I always remind people, when you made that choice, you made it with the information that you had in the moment.
Yeah.
So why beat yourself after the fact? Because now that you have more information, you can see differently.
Yeah.
And if you were able to see what you see now, then you would have made a different choice.
Yeah, and that speaks into we're all doing the best we can
Absolutely.
in this moment with the experiences we've
Absolutely.
had, with the information, amount of
Mhm.
information we've had. And boy, is that that's a hefty conversation with myself a lot, and realizing
Yeah.
that the way that I treat myself,
Mhm.
my relationships with others, with the world,
Absolutely.
really stems from my relationship firstly with myself.
That's right. And before you can know that, you want to take time to think about that. Here comes another cough.
All right, well, this is a great time to go to break right now, and we'll be right back on the 2% podcast.
Guitar Wishes, where dreams with strings come true. The area's largest guitar shop and NAMM Top 100 winner, Guitar Wishes of Lincoln. We carry your favorite Gibson, Fender, Martin, Taylor, and Epiphone instruments. We're an authorized Music Man, Sterling Vintage, and Yamaha dealer.
Welcome back to the 2% podcast. I'm joined with Tamrah Barber today, my friend, executive coach, and teen interventionist. We've been talking about think, pausing, being able to stop and create purpose and intent with our goals, with goal setting, and anything we want to accomplish, really.
Yeah. I want to say it again. Think. Take time to think. That's the T. Hone in on what's important. Make sure that the choices that you're making with your time are in integrity with who you are and what you want to create. Be comfortable saying no and being kind to yourself. If you apply that acronym and add it to your daily practices, you'll see that you're more creative. You'll be more open to opportunities as they come, and you'll be grounded. You'll be grounded in who you are and what you want to accomplish, and what you want to accomplish not just for yourself but in the world. And I'm sitting here trying my best not to cough my head off and talk because I've been with some amazing teens at Extreme Teen Leaders on last weekend, and we do this process where I'm literally yelling at the top of my lungs, the top of my vocal cords, I guess, not my lungs. And so I'm getting my voice back slowly, but it's still challenging me. So if you hear me cough out there in TV land, just give me a break, give me a moment. Just give me a moment. I'll be back.
So I also want to talk about, you mentioned distraction playing a big role in what gets in the way of us committing to our goals, having our goals accomplished, and seeing them through. And you're on a show right now on A&E called
Digital Addiction.
Digital Addiction.
Yes. The biggest distraction in our world today, I believe, are all of the devices. And what's interesting about digital addiction, the producers of the show did a show before that, which was an Emmy award-winning show called Intervention. And that one focused on drug and alcohol addiction. And this one, they wanted to focus on digital addiction. And when I look at the two, if you take away drugs and alcohol, you can remove a person from being around other people with drugs and alcohol. You can take them out of that environment. But the challenge with digital addiction is you can't do that because there's technology around us all the time. And it's designed to be helpful. Think of all of the ways that we use technology. We're sitting here on, on a podcast using all shapes of technology and being streamed out onto social platforms. And this is great content that you're creating. But everyone's not doing that. There are some companies out there that have designed games and applications that literally suck you in. It's designed to keep you there. And so on this show, I'm working with people that are spending upwards of 15, 16 hours a day on social media, to the extent that they're losing touch with their life. They're
Yeah.
living and breathing life,
Yeah.
the relationships that they have, the things that they used to love to do that they no longer do anymore. And so it's becoming a challenge for people to overcome. And so this new show tackles that. And I get to use the same tools that I use in Extreme Teen Leaders, working with teens, cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm a practitioner, and I can use it in this environment as well. And you'll see on the show, I've been able to create some huge breakthroughs for
Yeah.
people in their lives, so they refocus. Again, taking time to step back, step out of social media, step away from their devices, and really think about what they're doing with their lives. Is this where they want to be? Is this how they want to manage the relationships in their lives? And for the young people, is this how I want my life to be, impacting my grades, my parents, my home life? Or do I want to create something different? And that's what I really love to do, is bring people a different way to live that actually works for them,
Yeah.
as opposed to taking away from their life.
Yeah. I watched, I recall in episode 2, I believe, that you're in,
Yeah.
with a very young child.
hmm
And speaking, to your point, um, where drugs and alcohol may not be readily available to children, age 8,
hmm
tablets, video games, it's there. And so this addiction is starting very, very young.
Yeah. And it's
And,
not
and the
just,
distraction.
right? Tablets, cell phones, TV, video games, all of those things are in the household.
Yeah.
And there's multiple of them. So it's literally like taking a drug addict and putting them into a crack house and saying, live a productive
Yeah.
life. Go for it, you
Yeah.
know?
So what are you seeing that's at the root of focus issues and distraction? And
Yeah. Well, there's two places. So in the digital addiction arena, it's trauma. There's always an underlying trauma that people have not dealt with, and they're using social media as a distraction and an outlet. So that's one thing I'm seeing. And then in the work that I do with extreme teen leaders, there's a lot of distractions. For teens, it's the friendships that they're creating that are not healthy. And digital addiction also plays a role in that. And there's some trauma. But I think the biggest distraction for teens that I'm seeing, aside from social media, are the friendships that they're creating. Some of them are not healthy. And it's in a time of life where they want to fit in, they want to be a part
Yeah.
of something. And so when they find that door where they can go in and be a part of something, when they figure out it's not healthy, it's too late. They're already in it, and they don't have the tools yet to set boundaries and be like, okay, this is not good for me. I'm stepping out of this.
Yeah.
And so what I really enjoy doing is giving them those tools so that they feel comfortable in their own skin, so they can say no, so they can set their own boundaries, so that they can think for themselves,
Yeah.
as opposed to being guided by someone else's needs and wants, getting clear on what they want for themselves, and really taking them out of that environment for a moment so that they can think.
Yeah.
And I think that's the power of that weekend, is you're taken out of your environment and you're put in an environment where you can think and look at things from a different perspective and a different point of view, which is oftentimes where breakthroughs happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And a reconnection to self.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I definitely remember being that age and already thinking at, 10, 11, 12 years old, I need to be thinner. I need this and this clothes. And mom, why won't you get me these shoes? And these shoes are going to make me popular. And I can,
Mhm.
have this
Yeah.
group of friends.
Yeah.
And feeling like I also didn't belong in any particular friend group either.
Yeah. And we have these attachments to all of those material things,
Yeah.
and we allow them to define who we are, as opposed to us defining who we are.
Yeah.
I get to define who I want to be in the world. And someone's label on my back doesn't define me. It doesn't add value to me either. I'm already valuable.
Yeah.
And so making sure that people get that they are perfect, whole, and complete, that they are valuable just as they are. There's nothing to add and there's nothing to take away. Wearing nice clothes, that's nice. And whether you have it or don't, you're still
Yeah.
magnificent. And I can recreate it for 1/3 of the budget.
Amen. That's right.
Yeah, so we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun with teens, and we bring in adult staff as well. And when they leave different than when they came.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exciting. I know that I fell in love with you and your work immediately because I look at my own life and finding the work of transformation in my 30s and where could I have been really stepping into my power, stepping into my voice, knowing who I was and having that direction much, much earlier, but no regrets either because I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. So I don't want to bring in the mentality of shoulda, coulda, woulda. I don't want to shit all over myself, shitting on myself.
Someone said that. I just heard that. I was like, ooh, that's a good one. Don't shit on yourself.
Yeah.
I heard it. I was like, I'm putting that one in my pocket. And you just said that's so funny. Yeah, now I'm really going to say it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So true. So true. It was something I was going to say too. As you were talking, I was thinking about something that you just said. Something came up and it came and went. You know that happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I had one of those moments, I just had a moment like that. Just had a moment like that. It'll come back. Trust me, it'll be back. But thinking about teens and distractions, I think the biggest distraction too are their misconceptions about what their parents want and say to them. I think they make up so many things based on that, and most of them are not true, and it literally becomes a distraction, a lifelong distraction, and now it's back. It's back. When you said 40, like how long it took you to get these tools. And that is exactly why I created Extreme Teen Leaders, because I was 42 when I learned these tools. 42 years old. And when I came out of that training, I was so pissed. I was like, where has all of this been all my life? Why did anyone not tell me? And I was so upset with the world. I was like, I can't believe this. I am 42 years old. Do you know where I could be right now had I known this as a teenager? And then that's when, in that pissed offedness is when the light bulb was like, bing. Oh, I get to create it. So, like you said, no regrets. I don't have any regrets on my journey. I think it was perfect. And it prepared me for who I am today and for the work that I do today. So I'm excited about that. As I reflect back on everything that has happened, some of it traumatic, some of it funny, and some of it just like, wow. Did I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I step into a room full of teens, guess what? They're doing all that stuff. And I'm like, now I can relate to you. Okay, I totally get where you are. And I can give you some tools to help you make better choices that actually work for you. Yeah. And unfortunately, it took me to 42. But lucky for you, now that you're 13, you have all these tools that you can use now, and you're going to far surpass what I've been able to accomplish if you actually apply them to your life, which is the other thing. You can give people tools, but they got to apply them and use them. And what I found, though, is with the program, the people that do the entire program and then come back and staff it and volunteer and give back to student leaders that are coming in, those are the ones that have the most significant results in their life. Yeah. It's incredible. When people experience the teens that have done the whole program and staffed, they're blown away. Yeah. They're blown away.
Yeah, and it's a continuation of their own growth and their own journey.
It's them owning. Yeah. They own their personal development and mental health. Do you know how
Yeah.
powerful that is? Like to have a teenager own their personal development and mental health.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. Because like anything we do, like losing weight, for example, right? We go up and down, up and down. It becomes a lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's when you see the results, when it becomes a lifestyle. If we just dieted for a weekend and then went back to everything else that we've been doing,
Yeah.
it would be pointless. Well, personal development is the same.
Yeah.
Once you make that shift and begin to develop yourself personally, it becomes a way of life. You're always looking for, okay, what's next? And I think that's where we get caught up in the busy, 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 busy.
Yeah.
But it's the take a step back, allow yourself to think, look at the possibilities, choose. It's not stop, look, choose, do it. Stop, look, choose, do it. Stop, look, choose, do it. Like we get caught up in that cycle.
Even
But it's
that,
really
yeah.
stop. Let's think about this. Okay, where do I want to go next? What are my options? Let me just take some time to sit back and think.
Yeah, really, it's getting present. And I had Chris Delgado on the show a few weeks ago, and
Yeah, love
she
her.
landed be, do, have. And it's
Yeah.
not, again, like, how I had it in my mind is if I do enough and I do all the things, and I'm
Mhm.
tapping on the table, I'm not supposed to tap on the table. If I'm doing all the things, then I'll have the money, or I'll have the title, the promotion, the whatever, the car,
Mhm, mhm.
and then I get to be the successful
Yeah.
person that I wanted to be. And it's out of order. It's actually
Yes.
about stepping into the beingness first,
Yeah.
then the doingness. When I'm in my beingness and I'm acting, I'm being confident, I'm being powerful, I'm being authentic, that allows me to take the next action out of a space of abundance, creativity, joy, excitement,
Mhm.
power.
Yeah.
And then my actions become results oriented. I can produce results. And then I have what I want to have in my life.
Mhm.
So it's flipping it around, not doing first, but being first.
Yeah, and actually people want to have they want to have all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
I want to have a beautiful house on 20 acres, which I do. And I want to have a beautiful car, I want to have a husband, I want to have a wife, I want to have a partner. It's like all these things I want to have. And then we start doing. And we totally forget about the being. And when you think about the word being, be, to just be, right? Be still, being. We miss it. We miss it. And the beingness is not necessarily an action word. You're being. You're not like moving all
It's a
the time.
presence. Yeah.
It's a presence. And a presence is something that I experience as still. When I walk in the room and I stand somewhere, you can feel my presence. It's not moving all over the place. Like my presence is not everywhere. It's present. It's here. You can sense it. But it's not busyness. I'm not running all over the place.
Yeah.
Like my presence is not all over. It's just being still right where I am. And then it goes out and people can experience it. And I think we lose that.
Yeah.
Always wanting to be so fast. And the world doesn't help us because everything in the world is fast, fast, fast. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the woman defined, I can't remember her name, but she talked about speed versus velocity. And it was profound for me because I love to speed. I do. I drive a fast car.
Yep.
Yeah, I do.
As do I. I keep talking about traffic in this third podcast. Here comes traffic again.
I love to speed, but when I'm speeding, I'm not really going anywhere. I'm just speeding. You're just going fast.
Yes.
Like not really going anywhere. But velocity has focus. Velocity is going fast to some place.
Purposefully,
right?
intentfully.
Purposefully, intentionally. Whereas speed is just, speed.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of beingness and doing and having that intention of what you want to have. Again, being intentional about it, being intentional about who you're being first and who you get to be in order to have that. And I work for an amazing company, one of the top in the world. And one of the things that they have is this flywheel. And they talk about working backwards for our customers. And it's such it's a practice that you can apply to anything, working backwards. So if you see that there's all these things that you want to have, okay, let's work backwards from there. What do I have to do to accomplish that? Right? And that's going back to, okay, who am I being? What are the things I need to do? And I love one of my mentors, Ray said, it really should be do, have. Right? Be, and then you'll do some stuff. And then you go back to be again. Make sure you're being that.
Yeah.
And then you'll do some more. And then you'll be being again. And then you'll do some more. And then you'll eventually have what you want to have. And I thought that was really funny. So that was his.
And I
Ray
actually,
Blanchard, that's my mentor.
I have a timer set on my phone. It's I think I've had it for about a year, and it's to create an interruption 3 times a day. Like 10, 10 like Dr. Pepper, 10, 2, and 4. and it's an alarm that goes off so that I have on there, these different needs, who am I being? And I get to like stop in that moment and go, no matter what I'm doing at that time in the day, it has me stop.
I love
who
that.
am I being right now?
I love that.
So that's something
Write that down.
Yeah.
Do that. Is it an app or just an alarm?
No, I set an alarm.
Yeah, that's good.
Who am I being in this moment? And I get, sometimes I'm driving, sometimes I'm angry, like sometimes I'm working, sometimes I'm in my beingness, and I'm like, oh yeah, yes, I'm operating out of abundance right now. Or, I get to shift because I'm hungry, or I haven't taken time to eat today, or, I get to shift so that I'm operating out of a space of abundance again.
And see, that's doing the work. That's owning your personal development.
Yeah.
You didn't just go to the course, take some notes, and then take the notes and shove them in a drawer, and you're back to your old self.
Yeah.
Right? You're actually taking those tools, figuring out creative ways because you thought about it. I'm sure you sat back and you thought, okay, how can I do this? And you came up with that creative way to support yourself moving forward. And that's what we all get to do. And that's the importance of these tools, is when you incorporate these tools in your life, it's like you're going into the gym, and you don't just go to the gym one weekend of your life. You go to the gym daily if you really want to see some results. Now, it doesn't mean you work on the same part of your body every day, but you do want to go to the gym. One day is legs, one day is arms, one day is abs, and so forth. And so when you're doing the work and going into the gym of personal development, one day you're going to work on your beingness. Another day you're going to work on something else, right? Maybe the way that you're thinking. Maybe it's a tool that you've learned, working that out, practicing that tool and strengthening that arm, because some of these tools are very new. And so you want to make sure that you put them into practice so that the more you do them, the more they become in it within you. I love the way that one of my other mentors, Betty Spruill, she says, practice until you become the practice. That would stay with me. I was like, ooh, sometimes you with a mentor, right? And they drop these golden gems and you're like, ooh, that's good. That's good. I got to use that. That was one of them. Practice until you become the practice. And then you're no longer practicing. Right. It goes right back to being.
I am. Yeah, then I become the
You become. Yes, you become the practice. And that's what this work is about. It's about a lifelong journey of becoming the practice.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on today. I hope you enjoyed this podcast as much as we did.
Absolutely.
If you did, please like and subscribe. Please also visit tamrahbarber.com, extremeteenleaders.com.
You can find me. Yeah, you can find me on all the social media platforms. with extreme teen leaders. And then some of our graduates are going to be live right here doing a podcast on the things that teens experience in life, talking about mental health and their challenges. So we're looking forward to that. So stay tuned for that too.
And then check out Tamrah Barber on A&E Monday nights at Digital Addiction.
Yes.